Are you trying to decide between Etsy or Shopify for your online store? Well, you're in luck because in this video, we're going to go over the pros and the cons of both the Etsy and Shopify platforms so you can decide what's best for your business. So a lot of times people start off on Etsy if they have a handmade business, and then after they are kind of more established with their online store, they then look at actually then transitioning to a platform like Shopify to have a dedicated site. However, there are pros and cons of each, which I wanted to go over in this video. So first off, Etsy is an online marketplace where you can sell a variety of items that are either handmade, vintage, print on demand, or are materials. It's kind of like going to a craft fair and setting up all of your products in your own little booth. So you have the traffic from the craft fair that is coming in, and they're going to be stopping at many different booths and hopefully yours as well. Shopify is a dedicated online site. So you can sell anything that you want because it's your specific site. And it's kind of like if you were to open a brick and mortar store downtown on your square, and then you are responsible for actually driving the traffic to your store to actually get sales. So you can already see there a little bit of the pros and cons, but let's go into each individually and break it down. So let's start off first with Etsy. So in terms of pros for Etsy is that there's already a built-in customer base. People are used to actually going to the Etsy platform when they're searching for products because they're looking for something that's unique or handmade. So you've got people that are already going to be shopping directly on the platform. Also, Etsy has a great search engine and search functionality. So if your product is something that is unique and something that people are looking for, you can guarantee that you're going to get some traffic whenever you first opened up your Etsy store just based off the search functionality. So it's really helpful to get some traffic to your site very quickly after you've launched because people are using that search engine and going through and finding your products. The final pro with Etsy is that it is easy to set up. Everything is all fitting within the Etsy framework, so it's really easy to quickly add in a couple images and add in your listings to set up your products and start selling your products on the Etsy platform. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into the cons now. So a big con with Etsy is that you are limited in terms of what products you can sell. Again, the categories are handmade, vintage, print on demand, or material. So if your product doesn't fall into any of those categories, you're really not able to sell then on the Etsy platform because you're not one of those categories. Also with Etsy, you are going to have a lot of problems with your competition being right side by side with you. So as I mentioned, as a pro of people actually being able to look in the search functionality to find your products, the con is that your products are going to show up directly side by side to your competitors, which means that sometimes people may just pick the cheaper option, and racing to the bottom on price is never a good idea. So it is a little bit of a con there that your competitors are right there beside you and can be directly compared to your products and your price. Also, in terms of a con for Etsy, is that it's just harder to build a brand. People are coming to the Etsy platform, so it's their branding throughout, not yours. You do have some branding elements that you can customize, like a header banner and a logo, as well as your product images, but you're really limited overall in terms of your branding that you can use throughout to establish that customer base. And finally, and probably in my opinion, the biggest con is that you can't actually be beginning an email list. So you're getting people to hopefully purchase from your store, but you're not able to actually do anything with that customer information. You can't collect email addresses and then market to them later on to hopefully get repeat purchases, and you're kind of just stagnant. You're hoping that they come back to your store or leave your review, but you don't really have any information based on the customer that you can then reach out to them and go and try and build that brand with them. So it's really limiting there for actually growing your store and scaling up. Okay, so now let's go ahead and pivot and talk about the Shopify pros and cons. So one of the big pros with Shopify is that it is your own site. You control all of the messaging and the branding for it, so you're really able to build that brand with your customers or any potential customers that come to your site. Also, there's no competition because it is just your site. So there's no other products being displayed on the site that people can compare side by side of one competitor versus another. It is just your products. You also have the functionality to actually build an email list. So again, the importance then of getting that email address of people saying, hey, yeah, I want to hear more from you. So collecting that information and then being able to reach out with them again and again to hopefully get repeat orders from them. And that's what makes it really scalable. So as your store grows and you're changing out different products, or maybe you have a large inventory, it really is going to work best whenever you have your own dedicated site so that it really grows with you as your store grows and expands. Also, in terms of a big pro for Shopify is that there are additional apps so that you can add in additional functionality like site reviews, you can add in a loyalty program, wish list, pop-ups to grab those email addresses. There are so many different options in the Shopify App Store of different ways where you can build in additional functionality for your Shopify store that you just can't do with other platforms like Etsy. Okay, so now let's go ahead and talk about the cons. So a pro is that it's your own dedicated site. However, a con is that it does take longer to set up than Etsy does because there's just a lot more to set up. The benefit is that you have a lot more to customize, but the downside is that it's going to take a little longer to do that. Another big con is that you are not going to be featured through a search functionality like Etsy has, and you solely are responsible for sending all of the traffic to your site. So if you're not getting sales or traffic to your site, well, that's because you're not sending it correctly. So it is a lot additional work then to make sure that you are marketing your store and sending that traffic and sales to your site. So now that I've gone over the pros and cons, I have 3 questions for you to try and figure out which platform might be best for you. First off, how much time do you have to spend on your business? If you don't have a lot of time to actually spend on your business right now, I would actually think of doing a platform like Etsy because it's going to be faster to set up. You can really test out products and see which ones are working best for people, and you don't have to worry about all the time spent in terms of actually sending people to your site because again, you have that online search functionality through the Etsy marketplace. If you have a little bit more time, you may want to actually consider setting up your Shopify store and then focusing on then having from one dedicated site from the very beginning and then scaling it up from there. And again, you have that additional time of the setup and sending people to your site. My second question for you is how much money do you actually have to spend to promote your business? So again, Etsy does have some promotion capabilities of you can run ads on the Etsy platform. However, a lot of that traffic can be coming through their search functionality. So if you don't have a lot of money to spend in terms of beginning cost and advertising, you may want to consider doing the Etsy platform just because it's not going to be solely on you to send that traffic and sales to your store. If you have a little bit of money that you can invest from the beginning, then I would recommend doing Shopify because then you can actually be running Facebook ads to your store and getting that traffic to your site there where you can actually start scaling a lot quicker. I do not recommend doing Facebook ads to an Etsy store because then they can quickly leave because again, your competitors are right there on the site. So if you do have a little bit of money that you can play with in the beginning, I do recommend doing some paid advertising for your store and doing that specifically with the Shopify platform. My last question for you are what are your growth plan and your goals for your business? Are you wanting to get 5 orders a day or 500 orders a day? If you're doing smaller volume of orders, then I would think of actually using the Etsy platform because they are going to take a percentage of the sales based on however many sales you're doing, as well as listing cost. But also it's just going to be a little bit easier to manage a smaller amount of orders on the Etsy platform because there's not a ton of bulk editing tools. However, with Shopify, if you're doing a large quantity of orders, then you may want to do the Shopify platform because that actually will let you do more bulk fulfillment as well as tie in with a warehouse or order fulfillment company. And it also has that scalability again to where if you're just starting out and you're maybe only doing 50 orders a day, but you want to scale to 500, That is really kind of baked into the Shopify framework so that it's really easy to scale as your business grows. If you're interested in learning more about how to start and grow your online Shopify store, we have an online course right here called E-com in a Weekend, which is all about how to launch and grow your Shopify store in just a weekend. And we also have some additional videos up here all about growth strategies for 2021 of how to grow your Shopify store. Thanks so much for watching, and if you haven't yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button below, and I hope to see you in the next one.